here from Games, Brains and A Head-Banging Life. gbhblofficial for short, and it's my absolute pleasure to be standing here with Struckdown. Gentlemen, how are you doing today first?
Feeling the festival very much, as you can probably hear. But still on a high, really, from playing the New Blood stage.
Before we get to that, I've got to ask, what band is the reason why you sound like that?
Yeah, we are Struckdown, and
well, I was going to say we spent a lot of time shouting and screaming.
That's it, that's what I meant. Yeah, we know who you are. I meant, which band out there that were you watching that made you lose that voice?
To be honest, Devon.
Yeah?
And a lot of it wasn't even the words, it was just shrieks and screams of admiration.
Best of the weekend for you?
Blew me completely away.
Which, I have to ask, when people do that, I always have to go a little bit deeper in that and go, okay, which was it? Struck a Young Lad, the project, or?
It really was. Fairway Love came in, and it hasn't been out of my head since, as he'll confirm. Everywhere I've walked, it's been like a soundtrack, so...
I was going to say, what was that Devon song called? Oh, right, here we go. And it's been on repeat.
I can hear the whole thing in my head right now.
It's incredible. Say we saw Skindred as well beforehand, that was incredible. Yeah. You know, they always like put on a good crowd.
Skindred's cost me a voice a lot before.
So you've been having a good weekend, yeah?
A brilliant weekend.
Yeah. When did you get here?
We got here Thursday.
Yeah.
Mainly because we knew if we got here Wednesday, we weren't going to put on the best set Friday. And so we just tried to make sure that we could at least have our composition when we went and sort of took to a newer stage, newer crowd, and then start to let our hair down a bit afterwards.
Well, let's talk about it then. From your perspective, looking out across that tent, how was it?
Amazing.
Yeah.
I know that's obviously probably the most used answer and a bit cliche, but the stage felt like home.
Yeah.
So beforehand was the strangest element of it, and after. For the time we were on stage, and all of the crew are so professional, so efficient, it was just flawless.
Did you have any trepidation about coming? When you arrived, and obviously 18 months-ish of this,
Well, we knew it was a different sort of, it was all going to be applying ourselves differently somewhat. So again, going on beforehand, you're not in a sort of suspense because you're setting up.
Yep.
Whereas that's eliminated by other guys setting you up, so you can prep yourself in a whole new way, which I think for some bands in a similar position to us, it gave them more time to focus on how nervous they were, and a pep talk had got them out of it. And in other cases, it really was. It was like, this is doing what we do is what's got us here. We just need to go and do what we do. And
tell us about the journey. Tell us about your journey to Bloodstock, to that stage.
Yeah, as in
getting in the car.
Yeah, that part of it. I want to hear every part of the road trip. No, of course.
Well, getting in the car
to be honest,
9 o'clock in the morning, wasn't it? We tried to set off fairly early because we obviously make good time. I think we got here about 3:00.
Yeah, we got here enough time so that we was just finishing the tent when Famine started their set, and then we found out we were all athletes getting over to the Sophie stage.
Of course, that's when you really see what you're made of.
Yeah.
But back Struckdown and getting to Bloodstock. Tell us about that.
I figured that was what the question was.
Right, no, it was the metal to the masses, so we won our heat. That in itself was just, like we said, after the past year that we've had. And everyone, like we said, it wasn't just sort of when we were competing against all those bands, everyone was throwing everything at it. And it was just a whole sort of collection of great bands. There's loads of guys, that we know, so we played before, Jukebox, Spider Bite, everyone gave it their all. It was just refreshing to sort of see everyone really throwing everything at live music being back. And that was the main thing as well. It was
to be honest, just to add to that, we'd entered the metal to the masses before as the same name, but under a completely different sort of sound.
Yeah.
We had a lot more of a sort of glam, classic metal sort of feel about us prior to the lockdown. We hit a couple of experimental tracks in sort of the lead up to the lockdown. Completely, we knew when we were seeing other bands dropping off in such crap times, to be honest, we knew that we couldn't let it happen. We was getting towards the best gigs we'd had, and we'd started travelling the country a bit more, trying to get around and get people hearing us. And we was just terrified that momentum was going to stop.
Of course.
And over the last 18 months, the band really is just a fresh entity. So the sounds, I think we even gave you a sample CD, if not, I've got one. But it just took a whole new approach. Famine, we've had a lot of we've been intertwined a fair bit with the same area, members of shared bands before and things like that. And they're a great bunch of guys, but it's funny because in that rebrand, we've kind of gone more I would say the aesthetic of famine.
Okay.
We're not famine.
Right, obviously you're not. Yeah,
But, it's great because it's exciting to sort of maybe be able to make opportunities with that, because we love their sound and we love them as guys.
Well, one of the more interesting things as well, going back to the Metal Masters, is the Kent one was one of the only ones that actually happened.
Yes.
So like, when you looked and saw what other ones were doing, and you saw it was on submissions and stuff like that, and it's basically a little room of judges going kind of thing. Were you worried that the Kent one, because obviously it's at the Red Lion is the outdoor stage and stuff like that, so were you kind of leading up to thinking, oh, will this happen, won't it happen?
Yeah, 100%, because it was just that, there was all well and good having scheduled restrictions lifted and things like that, but we had a gig fall through because of restrictions changing. I mean, even heading towards this, it was like, childhood dreams were getting on stage with Bloodstock, and it was like, that could actually just be taken by the news tomorrow morning. You know what I mean? And it was confirmed, but it's like, things have been confirmed. So it's terrifying.
Yeah, we've seen it this weekend as well. It didn't even matter about that. Just needs one of you to trigger that.
It was that moment of sort of dread, sort of when you do it the night before and then you do it on a Saturday, you think, you know,
what if?
Just one sort of slight change can really just mess your whole weekend. But like I say, luckily we didn't. We all came back negative.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think the testing on site as well, it's all been done so well, which obviously has just done the most to guarantee that it's gone ahead.
Yeah, of course. It really, really has.
Yeah.
So, the most positive thing, it seems to, from what you've been saying, from the last 18 months, this pandemic period, has been obviously this direction change, this change in where you're heading and stuff. Would you agree?
Oh, yes, and it's almost just, I think we've refined what we always thought we was doing right.
Okay,
You know what I mean? We thought we was putting in the right amount of effort and things like that, and it was like, on some things we were near, but just because we weren't bang on target, we were swiping off a bit, and I think we've just sort of made what we were doing a bit sloppy, a bit more efficient, and really just tried to apply ourselves more. Like, we've taken a lot of inspiration from other sort of bands that are doing well, and not to imitate, but to just be inspired by how they're going about things. Before, we'd sometimes try and overcomplicate things around the music, and it was just a matter of realistically being ourselves, owning ourselves as what we are, what we do, and trying to push that out more directly.
What's next then? What's the plan? What's the hope? Because this is the momentum jumper,
We're nearly finished on our current campaign with EP Part 1, which is From Demons. With the second half, we've pretty much finished writing Part 2, which is To Witches. That is to be released across, again, staggered in singles. Going along the concept that the first part has been in, still telling a story, so we've been keeping our fans sort of trying to itch for the next part of the story. Really.
It's a clever way to do it, right?
Yeah, that's been a brilliant writing process. So
it's different to what we've done before, like the whole idea of a concept, sort of EP, sort of two. I suppose you could call it a two-part.
Well, it's a two. More Tales of Father Bernard, which is just funny enough.
But no, it's been different. So, and we like the way it's going. It's all sounding good. Everything's got that consistency now. Nothing. It's not like you said. It's not overcomplicated. It's simple in a way where it just sounds that it fits, and it's just we're just really sorry.
Beautifully.
There's no other way to sort of talk about it. It really is just.
It sounds exciting.
Is the answer.
Sounds exciting for you guys. And as you know as well, you start off in the New Blood. You go to the Soulful. You maybe jump up to the. Oh, it's a big stage over there, right?
Yeah. Well, it's the dream. A lot of dreams came true, I think, for the whole band. Getting onto you do visualise it as a kid, don't you? That sort of like big festival. That's what you're after. Yeah. And obviously now we're finding the reality of it. It's just as good as we imagined. But obviously we didn't quite figure it out as kids.
Of course.
So we've still got that next step to keep constantly aim for, and I think we always will.
It's just carrying on pushing.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. If you just throw everything out, carry on pushing. Why stop now?
Yeah, because no one's going to do it for you either, guys.
No,
that's
no
the
one's
thing.
Come and find us.
Yes. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal, what else is life for?